You're lying there again, eyes wide open, the ceiling staring back at you like it has answers you haven't found yet. Your body is exhausted, your mind won't stop. And somewhere between 3 and 4 in the morning, you've had the same thought you always have. Why can't I just sleep like a normal person? If that moment feels familiar, you need to hear what I'm about to share. Because what's actually stealing your sleep has almost nothing to do with what most people tell you. It's not your phone, it's not your mattress, it's not even stress, at least not in the way you think. There's something much deeper happening inside your body every single night, and once you understand it, everything changes. But first, really quickly, if you've already tried everything and you're ready to go deeper than surface level fixes, we have related programs linked down below in the video description. These aren't for everyone. Honestly, if you're comfortable scrolling through sleep tips and getting nowhere, those programs probably aren't for you. But if you're genuinely done losing nights, done waking up feeling like you never slept at all, then take a look before the spots are gone. Now, let's get into the real reason your sleep is broken. Your brain has an internal clock. Scientists call it the circadian rhythm. Think of it like a conductor running an orchestra inside your body. When it's working the way it should, you get tired at the right time, you fall asleep with ease, you stay asleep, and you wake up actually refreshed. But here's what nobody tells you. That conductor can get completely thrown off. And when it does, no amount of chamomile tea or white noise machines will fix the real problem. Research shows that the vast majority of people who struggle with sleep aren't dealing with a sleep disorder. They're dealing with a dysregulated nervous system. That's the hidden reason. Your nervous system, the command center for your entire body, is stuck in a state it was never designed to stay in for this long. Think about what your life actually feels like. You're carrying things, deadlines, responsibilities, that conversation that didn't go well, that thing you said 3 weeks ago that you're still replaying. Your body doesn't know the difference between a physical threat and an emotional one. It treats them exactly the same. So by the time you lie down at night, your nervous system is still in high gear. It's still scanning for danger, it's still running calculations. And sleep, deep restorative sleep, is biologically impossible when your nervous system thinks you need to stay alert. This is why you can follow every sleep hygiene rule perfectly and still stare at the ceiling. This is why you can take melatonin, keep your room cold, use blackout curtains, and still wake up at 2 in the morning with your heart beating a little too fast and your thoughts moving a little too quickly. You've been treating the symptoms, not the source. And here's where it gets even more personal. The longer this goes on, the worse it compounds. Sleep deprivation research is stark. Even losing just 90 minutes of deep sleep in a single night can reduce your cognitive function significantly the next day. Over weeks and months, chronic poor sleep raises cortisol levels. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. An elevated cortisol makes it harder to fall asleep, so you get more stressed because you can't sleep, and you can't sleep because you're more stressed. It's a loop. And you've probably felt that loop closing tighter and tighter around you. Here's what that actually costs you, because I don't want to skip past this part. Think about the version of yourself that got a full, deep, uninterrupted 8 hours last night. How differently do you show up? How much sharper are you? How much more patient? How much more like yourself? Now, multiply the distance between those two versions across every single day. That gap is what this is really about. It's not just about sleep. It's about your quality of life, your relationships, your performance, your sense of who you are. Studies show that people with consistent, high-quality sleep report dramatically higher levels of emotional regulation. They handle conflict better. They make clearer decisions. They feel more optimistic about the future. Not because their circumstances are easier, but because their brain is actually functioning the way it's designed to. So what actually fixes this? The answer is nervous system regulation. And this is where most sleep advice completely fails people because it skips this entirely. When you deliberately calm your nervous system before bed, and I mean using approaches that are grounded in neuroscience, not just deep breathing tips you've already heard, something remarkable starts happening. Your cortisol drops. Your body temperature begins to fall naturally. Your brain shifts from beta waves, the fast alert state, into alpha waves, the relaxed transitional state. And from there, sleep doesn't have to be forced. It becomes inevitable. The vagus nerve is at the center of all of this. It's the longest nerve in your body. It runs from your brainstem all the way down through your chest and into your gut. When the vagus nerve is activated properly, it signals your entire system to downshift. Heart rate slows, breathing deepens, muscles release tension they've been holding all day. And your brain finally gets the message that it is safe to let go. There are specific techniques that directly activate vagal tone. Extended exhale breathing, where your exhale is longer than your inhale, activates the parasympathetic nervous system almost immediately. Humming or low vocalization stimulates vagal activity. Cold water on the face triggers the dive reflex, which drops heart rate rapidly. These aren't abstract concepts. These are measurable physiological responses happening inside your body. But here's the part that most people miss. Doing these things once doesn't fix a chronically dysregulated nervous system. It takes consistent, targeted practice to actually recalibrate. Think about it like physical fitness. You can't do one workout and expect your body to transform. But with the right approach done consistently, your body begins to change. And the same is true here. People who commit to nervous system regulation report that within just a few weeks, they're falling asleep faster, they're staying asleep longer, they're waking up feeling rested in a way they'd almost forgotten was possible. Some describe it as feeling like themselves again for the first time in years, and that's not an exaggeration. That's what happens when your biology is finally working with you instead of against you. Now let me ask you something honest. How long have you been dealing with this? A year? Several years? Most people who struggle with sleep have been struggling far longer than they admit. They've adapted to being tired. They've accepted it as normal. They've built their entire day around compensating for the energy they're not getting. And the tragedy is that most of them are only a few weeks away from something completely different. That's not a selling point. That's science. The human nervous system is remarkably responsive when given the right inputs. The brain is plastic. It adapts. It heals. But it needs direction. Which brings me back to what I mentioned at the start. If you're someone who's ready to stop surviving on broken sleep and actually address the root of what's happening in your body, look at the programs linked down below in the video description. Not because you need someone to hold your hand, but because having a structured, evidence-based approach cuts the learning curve dramatically. People who follow a clear system instead of piecing things together from random advice get results that are measurably faster and more consistent. That's not a guess. That's what the research on behavior change consistently shows. Most people will watch this video and think, that was interesting, and then they'll try to fall asleep tonight using the exact same patterns they always use. And tomorrow they'll be just as tired. Don't be that person. You already know what doing nothing gets you. The programs in the description are there for the people who are ready to actually change the outcome. If you've spent months or years losing sleep, losing energy, losing the best version of yourself to exhaustion, then the cost of not acting is something you already know intimately. Take that step. The information is right below this video. Your nervous system is ready to change. The only question is whether you are...